How are you? It's Miss Sarah back again to read you a story. Miss Sarah and little Miss Violet. Hey, everybody. She loves story time. So I wanted to read you a story tonight. It's called Frederick by Leo Lionni, but it reminds me of a Bible verse from Deuteronomy 31:6. It says, "Be strong and courageous, for the Lord your God goes with you wherever you go. He will not forsake you." That means he's going to be with you forever, and he will be there to help no matter what. So I wanted to read this story because it kind of reminds me of that Bible verse. All right? So this is Frederick. It's about a little mouse. All along the meadow, where the cows grazed and the horses ran, there was an old stone wall. In that wall, not far from the barn and the granary, a chatty family of field mice had their home. But the farmers had moved away, the barn was abandoned, and the granary stood empty. And since winter was not far off, the little mice began to gather corn and nuts and wheat and straw because they were going to need it throughout the winter. They worked all day and all night. All of them except Frederick. There he is. He's not working. "Frederick, why don't you work?" they asked. "Well, I do work," said Frederick. "I gather sun rays for the cold, dark winter days." And when they saw Frederick sitting there, staring at the meadow, they said, "And now, Frederick?" "I gather colors," answered Frederick, "for winter is gray." And once Frederick seemed half asleep. "Are you dreaming, Frederick?" they asked reproachfully. But Frederick said, "Oh no, I'm gathering words. For the winter days are long and many, and we'll run out of things to say." At this point, I bet his brothers and sisters and his mom and dad were thinking he was just being lazy. What do you think? The winter days came, and when the first snow fell, the 5 little field mice took to their hideout into the stones. There they go. In the beginning, there was lots to eat, and the mice told stories of foolish foxes and silly cats. Then they were a happy family. But little by little, they had nibbled up most of the nuts and berries. The straw was gone. The corn was only a memory. It was cold in the wall, and no one felt like chatting. Then they remembered that what Frederick had said about sun rays and colors and words. "What about your supplies, Frederick?" they asked. What do you think Frederick said? Frederick says, "Close your eyes." And as he climbed on a big stone, he says, "Now I send you the rays of the sun. Do you feel how their golden glow?" And as Frederick spoke of the sun, the 4 little mice began to feel warmer. Was it Frederick's voice? Was it magic? They all have a little bit of a glow around them. They're starting to feel warm. "Well, and how about the colors, Frederick?" they asked anxiously. "Close your eyes again," Frederick said. And when he told them of the blue periwinkles and the red poppies in the yellow wheat and the green leaves of the berry bush, they saw colors as clearly as though they had been painted in their minds. "And the words, Frederick?" Frederick cleared his throat, waited a minute, and then said, as if from a stage, he said, "Who scatters snowflakes? Who melts the ice? Who spoils the weather? Who makes it nice? Who grows the 4-leaf clovers in June? Who dims the daylight? Who lights the moon? 4 little field mice who live in the sky. 4 little field mice, like you and I. One is the spring mouse who turns on the showers. Then comes the summer who paints in the flowers. The fall mouse is next with walnuts and wheat. And winter is last with cold weather feet. Wow, aren't we the lucky 4? Think of a year with 1 less or 1 more. When Frederick had finished, they all applauded. But Frederick, they said, you're a poet. Frederick blushed, took a bow, and said shyly, I know it. The end. So, you might wonder why I think I'm reminded of the verse in Deuteronomy, but Frederick was there for them, and he was working, even though they didn't see him working. They didn't see him doing much. He was just there, but he was working all along. They just couldn't see it. It's just how God is in our life. He is always there. He's always in our lives. He's always there working. We just sometimes can't see it. But when we need him the most is when he'll show up and when he'll be there. So just remember that God loves you always. He will always be there for you. And I love you, and I'll see you next week. Bye.